Hello, Boma. Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello, good morning. Good morning, ma'am.
Hello, Boma. Can you hear me?
My system don't start.
Hello, Boma. Hello?
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Hello, Boma. Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Can you unmute yourself?
Hello.
Hello, please unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now? Good morning.
Yes, I can hear you now. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Uh-huh. Okay. Because you were on red before. Your microphone was on red.
No, I muted it. Then I spoke with you.
Okay.
Okay, good morning,
Okay.
everybody, and welcome to today's event on stress management. So while we thank you for joining on time. So we are going to wait a bit for people to join because I have a lot of people that are waiting to join. So we are prompting them to join. So if you have your friends, your colleagues, they are supposed to be here, please prompt them that it's time. We're supposed to start now. So please, could you prompt them? If you have your colleagues and your friends that are supposed to join now, please prompt them while we wait a bit for people to join. Let's say let's give them 5 minutes. 5 minutes will move. Thank you. All right, good morning, everybody. And we are starting now. And welcome to the stress management seminar. So please, we want you to use the chat box to type. Please let me know where you're logging in from, your location. Could you please tell us where you're logging in from? And as well, can you just type also what's your expectation? I'm sure that you didn't just join this seminar for you had other things you want to do, but because of what the series is about, you decided to join. Please type your location and what you look forward to gaining after this seminar, please. Thank you, thank you. I will read. Someone, sorry, you're turning from Yaba. Cynthia, you're turning for Ibejileki. Let me start with you. Then we have Bola Abuja. Good morning, Bola Abuja. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Nurats, Hospital Road, Yaba. Thank you. Welcome. 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 I can see you. Dr. Dan Abuja. Welcome. Sarah from Kano, all the way from Kano. You're welcome, welcome, welcome.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So we have, we'll start right away. We have someone that's going to take this class. So I'm going to go ahead to introduce the person. Can everybody see my screen? Please, I want to type because this is going to be, it's not just you logging in. I want you to, you're going to use your chat bot to type. If you can see my screen, please let me know. Can you see it?
Yes.
Thank you very much. So I have with me Caroline Akinlotan. Sorry, ma, I pronounced it correctly?
Akinlotan.
Akinlotan. Oh, that's good. So Caroline is a psychologist, a realtor, a training consultant. So she is the one taking this class today, and a writer with over 20 years of experience. She holds degree and certification in psychology, property management, business management, and counseling from institute in Nigeria and the UK.
Good morning, everybody, again, once again.
As a managing director, CEO of RSG Services Limited, Caroline specializes in counseling, stress management, which is what we are going to measure on today, stress management and emotional intelligence training for individuals and group in business, schools, and hospitals. She's passionate advocate for mental health awareness and offers tailored solutions to help clients manage stress and improve well-being. Caroline also writes the Diary of Lagos Island Agent, and contribute to Castle Property Magazine. So it's good to have you share with us the knowledge that you've acquired over the years to help us manage the stress and also be proactive in our businesses, in our work, so that I can be able to put in all that we have to make our work a success. So thank you very much for giving us your time, Caroline. And it's good to have you here. So I will,
thank you.
As we are still going on, thank you. Please prompt so I want to tell you that we are also live on YouTube. For those that are following us on YouTube, Enterprise Development Center. So we are live on YouTube. We are live on Zoom, on our Zoom, and we are also live on our YouTube. So share the link with your peers, share the link. If you know that this seminar is for everybody, it's for everybody. So if you are in Nigeria, you know that even if it's a money stress, work stress, I think majorly is money stress that is doing us now. So please Could you share the link with everybody, your colleagues, your friends, your relations, far and near, home and abroad? Anybody can join, follow, join. And let's tackle this together and see how it goes. And we are going to learn a lot, because at the end of this series, we are supposed to learn how we can be able to manage this stress. We didn't say that the stress will go away, but how can we manage it so that it doesn't affect our life, our mental health, our job, our education, or our businesses? So right now, I'll hand you over to our facilitator for today. Thank you very much, Ma.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. I hope you're ready to learn some things to help you manage your stress better. Before I start, I would like to explain exactly what stress is and the causes of stress. Okay? So I will now, after that, explain how it goes into mental health problems. Now, stress is a natural psychological response to pressure. So some stress is harmless. In fact, a lot of stress is harmless if you can deal with it properly. So what you need to do is to have the emotional intelligence to be able to deal with stresses around you. Now, we all know that dealing with work, children, family, some of these and money, as Boma has mentioned, can be some of the greatest stressors in our lives. So once we get involved in things, in stresses of finances, family, marriage, it is how we deal with it, how we perceive it, and how we deal with it. So there are different types of stresses that you will come across, right? And the types of stresses that you will come across are episodic stresses. I don't know if you want to take notes, but there's something called episodic stresses. So that is stress that occurs in response to a specific event or situation, you know? So it is not an ongoing thing. So it's something that maybe you have a report to submit, and you know you're feeling the pressure and the stress of preparing that report. Once the report is prepared, that is over. So there's episodic stress, right? Which comes and goes. Then there you have acute stress. This is short-term stress caused by an event or situation. So it could be, for example, a quarrel with somebody, a disagreement with somebody. It may last for a day, it may last for 2 days, but it's caused by something that has been said or done. So that is a short-term stress. Acute stress is a short-term stress, which will eventually go away in itself. Then you've got chronic stress. Now, chronic stress is long-term stress that persists over time. It's often caused by ongoing problems or pressures. And one of the classic things that causes chronic stress is lack of money. Lack of money, I think it affects so many people, especially when you don't know how you're going to get the money. Now, this type of stress is stress that you need to ensure it is dealt with, or else chronic stress can lead to a deeper problem within you, which is traumatic stress. So traumatic stress is now caused by events, such as you not sleeping, you not dealing with things properly. So traumatic stress is stress that you eventually may need help with to deal with, okay? Traumatic stress can also be caused by abuse. It can be caused by an accident. Let us say you were involved in a car accident. Sometimes people fall into depression because of these things, and they need help to deal with these stresses. So stress really is a physiological response to perceived pressure. This triggers the body in releasing hormones like adrenaline and cortisol in your body, which makes you feel as if, you know, you're dizzy, as if you can't deal with the situation. And it can also lead to other things like crying, you know, suicidal thoughts. So there are different types of stresses. Now, the WHO, which is the World Health Organization, has said that at least 3 out of every 10 people, that is at least 30% of Nigerians, are walking around with stresses and mental health problems. And this is an estimate, because if you look at it clearly, it may be many more, because how do we get results of a test? How do we get our statistics? It is from the data that is available. We all know that there's a lot of hidden data that is not available in Nigeria. So let us go with the World Health Organization of 30%. 3 in every 10 people. So when you look around you, 3 out of every 10 people, or 1 out of 3, or 1 out of 4, is walking around stressed and probably with a mental health problem. What do we do about it? How do we deal with this? Now, for some people, there are stigmas. When I say some, in Nigeria, there are stigmas attached to mental health. And some of these things we will deal with. Now, the important thing is to realize is that a lot of mental health problems can be dealt with just by readjusting the way you view things and the way you look at things. So that is the emotional intelligence part of it. Are there things that you can do to deal with your stressors? Is there somebody next to you or close to you that you can talk to? Is there a family member you can talk to? If you don't want to talk to a family member, a psychologist or a counselor is there to guide you through these things because it's confidential. So dealing with stresses is not something you should sit down and say, I'm going to deal with it on my own, because many times it may not go away. Now, some of the signs and symptoms that you may look for in yourself and in others around you is feeling sad or down all the time. Do you know somebody? Are you yourself feeling sad? Are you, just not being motivated to do anything? You don't feel joy in anything you do. Then you need to deal with this immediately. Another thing is you might be suffering from confused thinking or unable to concentrate on what you're doing. Sometimes you see people talking to themselves and you call them mad. They are not mad. They are dealing with extreme pressure and stresses. Okay? This can also lead to fears and worries, unnecessary worries that make you not sleep at night. You need to ensure that this is addressed as soon as possible, because long-term deprivation of sleep can cause deeper mental health problems. Now, mood swings as well. Do you see somebody 1 minute they're up, 1 minute they're down? 1 minute they're happy, 1 minute they're sad. 1 minute they're shouting, the next minute they're sleeping. This is mood swings, or in worst cases, bipolar behavior. One other thing also, which is a classic symptom of stress or mental health issues, is withdrawal from friends and family. Do you prefer to be alone in your room, in your house, in the workplace? You will see phone calls coming in, you don't want to pick the phone calls. Your family members will try and contact you and you don't want to contact them. These are also symptoms that you're dealing with a lot of pressure. Another thing that can cause stresses is alcohol and drug abuse. So when you drink alcohol excessively, it tends to make you feel good immediately, but the after effects are usually that you feel very bad and you feel very low. So alcohol and drug abuse, usually you get that high, that rush, but the after effects are that you feel very, very low. One other sign of mental health and stresses is excessive anger and violence. You know, nowadays we see and hear on social media of a lot of violence going on in the country. People beating up their house girls, people beating up their wives and their husbands, people, you know, doing untold things to people. If you examine it and look behind what is causing this, you will find out that it could be one, the person is stressed, dealing with extreme pressure, or two, the person has a mental health disorder. A lot of mental health disorders can go undiagnosed in people. So what you see are these things coming out in them: violence, anger, and you don't know where it's coming from. It's suppressed pressure, or, as I said, mental health issues. Now, as I said before, mental health issues are things that can be dealt with when it first starts. It is when you leave it to get longer and longer that it becomes worse and worse. So if, for example, you see somebody who is having suicidal thoughts, is not taking their bath or looking after themselves properly, the sooner you get this person checked, if it is a relative or a friend, the better you're able to deal with this problem. It is now when it gets worse that it becomes unmanageable. Now, another thing which I would like everybody to be aware of is that there are differences between a psychologist, counselor, and a psychiatrist. A psychologist will deal with talking to you, psychoanalyzing you to find out what the root cause of your problem is and how to deal with it. In most instances, there is no drugs involved. So it is a matter of having sessions with a psychologist, sit down, talk, find out how you can deal with things better and what the problem is. With a psychiatrist is a doctor who now specializes in psychiatry. So the psychiatrist is the one who deals with the deeper mental health issues that have spiraled out of control and now require medication. So you will find out that some people need to be stabilized because their mental health has gotten out of control. So you will find people walking out of the house on the streets, not knowing what they're doing, people talking to themselves, schizophrenia, psychosis, you know, these are people who need to see a psychiatrist. They have passed the stage of a psychologist dealing with them. So it is important that if you know somebody or you are around people who you see as dealing with or showing symptoms of all these things, you know what to do. Okay, so it's very necessary that we don't see stigmas attached to it, or we don't run away from people like that, because there is nothing to be scared of in mental health, especially when you catch it early. Okay, so these are things that I think everybody needs to know about. And it's awareness training, which is what we're doing today, to let you know that these are the signs, these are the symptoms, and they can be dealt with. There's nothing to fear about it. So we will now, I think, tell you what I will do is I will explain to you how your emotional intelligence can actually help you to deal with some of these things, okay? So emotional intelligence informs your decision by making you think both logically and better in an emotional way, okay? So it promotes resilience, reducing stress and anxiety. If you are aware of what is causing your stress and what is causing your anxiety, you can be able to deal with it in a better way. So you are clear, so you know, say for example, there's work pressure in the office. You know that something is stressing you in the office. Maybe you have a delivery of a report, your boss might be stressing you. You need to be clear on what it is that is required from you. You need to be clear about how you are going to achieve this. You need to be clear on who you can seek help from. And you need to be clear in your communication as well. So it could be communication with the boss, it could be communication with your colleagues around you. So this is using your emotional intelligence to deal with things and not panicking and running away from the issue or having a meltdown or a breakdown and not dealing with it at all. Okay, so when you are feeling stressed, the important thing is pay attention to others around you, ask questions, seek feedback, and be mindful. So mindfulness means really that you're being aware of your whole body. You're being aware of the changes in your body. You're being aware of the importance and the need to control exactly how you are feeling. So one other thing which I also find is important is seeking feedback. Ask people, do you think I reacted out of character to something? Do you think I could have dealt with this better? Or, just ask for constructive feedback on how you can deal with things. Stress is it's one of those words, and mental health. It's one of those things that you hear a lot, but people just take it loosely, oh, I'm stressed. Oh, like I said, when you are feeling like you can't cope with what is going on around you, take time out, okay? Now, I'm going to also go into some effective stress management and relaxation techniques from you. Thereafter, I will welcome some questions on what you have been through and things that you might do. It's very important that you relax, okay? So there's something called breathing techniques. So you breathe from your diaphragm. Your diaphragm is in the middle of your chest here. So take deep breaths down from your stomach up. Breathe. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7 seconds, and exhale for 8 seconds, okay? So it's called the 4-7-8 breathing technique. So inhale for 4 seconds, hold it for 7 seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and exhale for 8 seconds, okay? You will find out that that calms you down and helps you to deal with whatever is stressing you. So that's one way of dealing with things. Now, another way of dealing with it is self-care. So make sure you do exercises. When you're at home or anywhere where you can do exercise, if you're near a gym, if you're on an estate, on a road which is safe, take a walk. A walk is free. It clears the mind. Put your music, your iPods or your headphones on. Take a walk, listen to music. Okay, that helps greatly in controlling your stressors. So engage in physical activity. Dancing, go for a dance class, go for swimming if you swim. Get a hobby, you know. Do you like reading? Do you like painting? Do you like, listening to music? You need to engage in something that will take your mind away from what is causing that stress. Now, it's very important that you have a social connection. So do you have friends? Do you have colleagues that you can socialize with? Go for lunch, go for a film, watch a movie, do you have family members, a brother, sister? You can invite over to your place, just to hang out, just to talk. A social connection is really important. The more you keep to yourself and the more lonely you are, the more focused you are going to be on your stresses, and the worse it's going to become. So make sure that you have people around you that you can talk to and that can help you. If you can't talk to anybody and you have access to a psychologist or a counselor, call them up. Nowadays, there's telephone counseling, there's Zoom counseling. So you actually don't have to come in to see anybody. You can just make a phone call and have some sessions online or over the telephone. So those are things that you should consider. So another thing is, for those people who feel they have to say yes to everything and take on everything, please learn to say no. You have to set healthy boundaries so that others can respect you, and you need to protect your energy and your time as well. So saying no is not a negative thing. It is learning to protect yourself, your mental health, your stress levels, and your boundaries. I'm not saying go and tell somebody no in a very aggressive way. You can say to the person, can I get back to you? Or can I deal with this? Or no, I don't know how to do this. Or no, I cannot deal with this. Don't take on more than you can chew. It's the same with people causing a lot of stress around you. Take time out from such people. Go into your car, sit down for half an hour, lie back, and get away from whoever is stressing you. If the stressing has become toxic or it's negative, you might consider cutting the person off. Now, I'm not saying that if it is someone close to you, you have to cut the person off. But if it is somebody who really is just causing chaos and toxic energy around you, you need to cut yourself off from that person in order to protect your mental health. Of course, if it is in the workplace, you cannot cut yourself off from the person. But as much as possible, try to limit your association with the person. If it is at home, a family member, then, as I said, try taking time out. Find something you can do that is not in the person's face. So you can find a hobby you might need to go into the car, sit down, take time out. Some people find out that looking after children is causing them a lot of stress. Can your parent help? Can a friend help to keep the kids for a few hours? Can somebody help with the kids while you take some time out? But you need to nurture your mind and nurture yourself, because taking on too much stress will lead to a breakdown. And once you start breaking down and cannot deal with your mental health, it's going to cause a lot more problems than you envisioned. So, like I said earlier, some of the physical symptoms that you might encounter with stress, excessive stresses, headaches. Do you get severe headaches? You know, headaches that sometimes you feel around your head. You feel as if your head is tight. If it doesn't go away when you take medication like Panadol or paracetamol, please go and see a doctor. It could, a headache, a persistent headache could be a sign of blood pressure. It could be a sign of other things. So if a headache persists for more than a day or two, please go and see a doctor. If you're feeling tired for no just reason, exhausted, even after sleeping a whole night, you cannot get yourself out of bed in the morning, please see the doctor as well. And if there is nothing physical wrong with you, then you may need to talk to a counselor, a psychologist, okay? A counselor and psychologist basically do the same thing. So they will talk to you, they will psychoanalyze you, they will find out what is going on with you, okay? Another physical sign that you might come across is muscle tension. So you feel your neck, muscles in your neck, your back, your shoulders are tight and painful. It could be suppressed tension in your body. It is physical, so you're feeling it physically. You're feeling ill, you're feeling the pain, but it is stress that is causing these things. So see a doctor, and at least you know that you have found out what the cause of the problem is, because sometimes physical problems might be a physical issue, but then it might be a psychological issue as well. Are you feeling like you can't eat? You want to throw up? You feel bloated all the time? You're having pains in your stomach? You're going to the toilet a lot? I can assure you that sometimes some of these symptoms are just mental health issues, stress, suppressed stress in your body. So go and see a doctor. I will always advocate that you go and see a doctor first before you do anything about it. Please, please, please limit self-medication. If you are going to take Panadol or paracetamol for a day or two, and the pain doesn't go away, you must see a doctor. Don't sit there and continue taking it for weeks on end or days on end. One thing I have come across a lot is people take medication to prevent things happening. So people will say, oh, I felt as if I was going to have malaria. And I'm talking to you out there listening. I know some of you are guilty of this because I know people who do it. I'm feeling the symptoms of malaria. Let me go and take a malaria tablet and typhoid medication, because it seems the two go hand in hand. Typhoid medication is actually very strong and it can cause other problems in you. So instead of self-medicating to prevent things, go and see a doctor first or see a psychologist if it is something that you cannot place your finger on what is causing it. So please, please, self-medication, if you have indulged in it in the past, it is very dangerous. Taking drugs that you don't need in your body can actually cause more health issues. So please don't do that. I know that everybody is stressed. I know that everybody is feeling physical symptoms, but as much as possible, please don't self-medicate. Now, do you also have feelings of being disconnected from things you used to enjoy. Do you know? And this feeling I'm describing is very common in teenagers and young people. If you have a teenager or a young person and you notice that things they used to enjoy doing, they don't enjoy doing anymore. Studies that they used to, take an interest in, they're not interested in anymore. Activities they used to do with such happiness, they are not interested in. Then you need to find out what is going on. Don't leave it. Don't say they will get over it, or don't say we will pray it out of the person. See a professional, a professional. I have said it, and I will say it the third time, a professional. Don't go and see somebody who is going to do something which has no real meaning to it. See a professional. So when you find out that you can see somebody who is not, taking an interest in things, or lying down or sleeping a lot, please, please, please know that something is wrong and look into it. Okay? So also feeling that you're unable to cope with the demands of life, you need to look into it as well. Then we also have cognitive symptoms. Cognitive is things that, you find are affecting the brain function, affecting your thinking. So you find out that simple tasks, somebody told you something. Before you walk from here to there, you've forgotten what they told you. Yes, it is normal once in a while. It does happen. But if you find out that is happening over and over and over again, then you need to look into what is causing this, okay? Difficulty concentrating as well. So you have to read something 20 times to understand it. Is there something wrong? Again, you need to look into it because there could be so many causes. For kids, I've seen some kids recently who the parents felt they weren't concentrating because they had to do things over and over and over again. In talking to these kids and examining them, it was found out that they were actually dyslexic. Now, dyslexic is something that is a simple thing. Abroad, even people admit, oh, I'm dyslexic. But in Nigeria, we don't know about it. Dyslexia means that you are not seeing the numbers and letters of what you're reading in the right format. So people think you're silly or you're not concentrating on what you're doing. But it is that there is a problem that people don't diagnose. So many children are ostracized because of this thing. And it goes into adulthood. I worked with somebody who was an accountant, but she was always making mistakes with her numbers. And I was getting frustrated. And I called her one day and I wrote something down for her. And I said, read it for me. Do you know she could not identify the letter 6? She saw it as 9 or something else. So I became aware that she was dyslexic. And she had gone through her entire life trying to cope, getting people to check things for her because she thought she was silly or she was not up to the task. So again, when you see things in people that you cannot put your finger to, you cannot identify, please be understanding. Don't deal with them with disregard or with making fun of them or attach a stigma to them. Try and understand, because the more you understand mental health, its causes and its effects, the more you will be able to deal with things in yourself as well. Before I take questions, I'm going to say, because I believe that most people that are watching are adults. So one of the things that is spoken about very, very rarely is the loss of interest in your partner. So the loss of physical interest in your partner. You might find that you really have no interest in being with your partner or being intimate with your partner anymore, because of something they may have done, or it's something unexplained in you, you cannot put your finger on it. Also, if this happens, you need to see a psychologist to help you through getting through this, because it cannot go on forever, because it will affect your relationship. So I have gone through so many signs, so many symptoms, and how you can help yourself in dealing with stresses and mental health. So if anybody wants to ask any questions, please, Boma, can they raise their hands and send their questions in?
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. This was, I guess this was a very eye-opener for most of us that we don't know. There are certain things that we don't even know that we can attribute it to stress. And also sometimes we might feel that, oh, it's not stress cannot cause this. So thank you very much we are going to be taking questions, and you can drop your questions on the Q&A chat, question and answer chat box we have there, or you can raise your hand, then I will mute you to speak. But please, if I'm going to unmute you to speak, your background has to be very quiet. Also, we are live on YouTube and we are live on our Zoom. So for those that didn't know, our Instagram, our YouTube handle is Enterprise Development Center. So that's our YouTube handle. For those that don't know, please follow us. We post things and we put up things like this that can benefit you. You can also go back to watch if you missed the session, or if you think that you have someone that missed the session that's supposed to be here, please, could you tell them to go to Enterprise Development Center on YouTube and listen. So if you have any question, and we are taking questions now, so drop your questions and I'll read it out. If you can't, I'll read it out for her to answer. Please, it's open. You can ask your questions now. So from while we are thinking about our questions, I took down some points that I think she made during this session. The last bit that she was saying, she said, when is the good time to see a doctor? When is the good time to see a doctor? Sometimes we think that this thing is just there. So she mentioned that when you have that persistent headache, you have taken everything. The normal medication that is prescribed to you, you have taken it, yet it's not working. That time you need to see a doctor. So when you are feeling weak for no reason whatsoever, you are just feeling so tired, so weak, your muscles, your head is heavy everywhere, you can't stand up, he says it's the right time to see a doctor. So you're feeling, this part got me, you're feeling bloated unnecessarily. You've taken your normal, our normal routine of living a good, healthy lifestyle. You drink a lot of water, your vegetables, yet you are still feeling bloated. It says it's the right time to see a doctor. So I know that we've gained a lot from this. So if you think you have gained a lot too, please drop what you think you have gained and also your questions. I'm reading questions. I have some questions already here. So I'm live on the YouTube. I'll take your questions wherever you drop it. So I will pick it from there. So I saw you, hey Barry, I knew when you logged in, yeah, you were saying that lack of money is number one. Of course, I mentioned the way we started, but it's okay. We are dealing with it. That's why we're here, to learn how to deal with it while we make it. Thank you. So I'm taking the first question that is here. Is coming from Bola. Bola said, concerning chronic stress, what advice do you have for a person who might be between the devil and the deep blue sea? For instance, a toxic boss, yet no other means of livelihood. How would you deal with in a workplace? I know she mentioned, maybe Ms. Karen, you can throw more light on this. I'm in a work environment. That's what Bola is saying. I have a toxic boss. I don't have another option, but I still want to maintain my work. How do I deal with that? Thank you. Hello, Ms. Caroline. So while we wait for our question, we have other questions. Please, I'm reading your questions. I can see them. Please keep sending your questions in. So I'll go back to also mention another thing that we learned from this. So she mentioned that loneliness is another thing. So you should surround yourself with family members, with do activities that will help you, be engaged, so you're not lonely. So because the mind is one thing, the more you keep your mind lonely, the more it triggers and actually go around and think the things that you're not supposed to think. Hello. So we can go on now. While we wait, sorry, she has a network issue. She's connecting back so she can take our questions. So another thing that she mentioned about you should learn to say no. There are setting boundaries. You set boundaries and learn to say no. Not know that, oh, you cannot do this, but no in a very subtle way. Not in an aggressive way, in a very subtle way. Set boundaries. Those things that you know that aggravate stress for you. And you can say, please, I can't at this moment. She talked about self-care. Self-care, exercise. You can take a walk. You don't need to do a strenuous exercise. You can take a walk with your favorite music playing. When you do that, you might not know how long it will help relieve the stress. And also, you can play that favorite, you can have something that you can play while taking a walk. It will help to relieve stress. So these are the points that she made on how you can deal with stress. So I can see your questions coming. Thank you. Thank you. You can take it. So while we wait for our facilitator to come in, does anybody have anything to say? Or you have you found yourself in a very, how did you deal with it? If you find yourself in an environment, a stressful environment, and you have an experience, so we are open to, let's know, how did you deal with it? Yes, yes, I see. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Bola. You also said something. You said personal experience. One other way to reduce stress is to reduce unreasonable expectation of ourselves. Unreasonable expectation of ourselves. Bola, thank you very much. That's true. That's putting too much expectation on yourself. Sorry for the delay. We're still waiting for our facilitator to come up. She's having a bit of network issues. Oh, Fawzat, thank you. You say, all I try to do is to keep off every thought or act of comparing or competing with others around me. Thank you. That's a very good one. Keep off from you competing. That's one thing that we do unconsciously, and saying, this person is here and I'm not here. Also, she said, Fauza said, doing things without expectation, be ready for disappointment from anyone. That's interesting. That's very interesting. So don't put too much expectation on somebody and said, this person has to be like this. What if the person is not the way you are expecting the person to be? You are now fully disappointed. So create that room where there is a little bit of it. And you can say, oh, the person can disappoint at any time. There is a little bit of room. Can I say break big tasks into smaller tasks? Yes, yes, yes. That's very nice. That's very, very good. So you have this huge task that you've been given to do. And you're looking at it as a very big task. It's this huge mountain. How do you deal with it? So you break it to simple tasks and start tackling it from one after the other. You deal with one, you move to another one, you deal with another one. Thank you very much. That's a very good one. So Kenna said, also, if you have a deadline coming up, start working on it on time, not leaving things to last minute. Yes, it can put pressure on your brain. That can put pressure on your brain a lot. It can put stress. You are battling, how do I meet up with time? When these things you're supposed to have done it earlier before now. So it can put pressure on you to want to deliver. But if you're able to tackle it on time, even if they are difficult, but break it down just the way this, break it down bit by bit and start tackling it on time so you can be able to deliver at the appropriate time without putting stress on yourself. So thank you very much. Beatrice said, keep your mind free from worries. Your mindset, very important. Yes, the mind is where everything builds up. From your mind, it builds, your brain is activated. So it's a keep your mind free from it. So when you take that walk, ensure that your mind is free from those things you're thinking about. At that moment you're taking the walk, just put your mind at rest and listen and enjoy that music that is playing as you take that walk or your exercise. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. So we'll now come back. Our facilitator is back here. We'll start taking our questions again. Thank you, everybody, for holding on while we add. So I'm still taking your responses from the session. For if you have anything that you have learned, I'm still taking your responses. I'm taking in your responses. Okay, Rachel, I can see your questions. Thank you. So we are still here taking in your questions. Edo, I can see your question. How do we manage work and family? What is the major source of stress? Do stress occur in children? Fasila will answer all the questions. I can see all your question. Please keep your question rolling in. We are here to answer all the questions. The ones we'll take as much questions as we can today, so that by the time we get back, we can understand what is causing the stress and how we can deal with it. That is why we're here. Hello, sorry. Welcome back, everybody. Sorry, we had a little bit of technical issue. So welcome back, Mrs. Caroline. Welcome. We have a lot of questions here for you. It's good to have you back after the little bit of network issue. So we have a question here. We have someone anonymous asking, thank you for a session. He said, I manage a chronic condition and have been through many of what was addressed. One of the last comments got me physically disconnected with spouse. I am seeing it as a safe space these days, and I am in between now. It's been safe disconnecting, but we are still doing few things together. I'm really getting it right. That's what the person says. So,
hello, Boma, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay, yes. Your voice has gone down. I don't know what's going on here. Can you increase your volume a bit?
Can you hear me properly now?
Oh.
Maybe you can increase it from your end. It's loud enough. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very, very faintly. Very faintly.
Okay.
Can the volume there be increased?
Can you hear me now?
Thank you, everybody, for being patient and waiting.
So I have Oladele here. The question is, how do I cope with distance of workplace from home without changing the children's school?
Hello?
Hello, Ms. Caroline. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very, very faintly. Okay, hold on. I'm coming. Can you hear me now? There's something on your mute. Your microphone is muted. Hello?
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 I can hear you. Hello?
Anyway, Boma, I can't really hear you well, but I don't know if others can hear me.
But we can hear you properly.
You can hear me properly?
Yes.
Okay, let us try.
Please, if you can hear me, if you're in the audience and you can hear me properly, please, can you raise up your hand if you can hear me? Put on the chat box that you can hear me.
Okay. Okay, you can hear both of us clearly. Okay, that's fine. I think before I got logged out, somebody asked a question of a workplace. She was having problems with her boss in her workplace.
Yes.
And she didn't know how to deal with it.
Yes,
okay, I think there were some helpful advices that came up. Even though you couldn't see me, I could hear you. But what I would say in order to deal with something like that is, first of all, you need to be mindful and self-aware that, is this job something you want to continue doing in the long term? Because if it is causing you so much stress, you might need to start looking for another job elsewhere. If you have tried all possible means to make it work, Have you communicated with your boss? Have you communicated with your other colleagues to find out whether it is something that is unique to you, or is it unique to everybody? Is it something that you enjoy doing? Is it something that you want to continue doing? If you answer all these questions, you may arrive at the answer on how to deal with this issue. What I will say is that there are other jobs out there. If this job is not bringing you the pleasure that you need to enjoy the job, then you might need to quietly start looking for another job elsewhere while you try and do this one to the best of your abilities. Have you looked at whether it's a clash, a personal thing between your boss and yourself? Is it that you're not producing what the boss wants? That's why I said sometimes communication will solve the problem. Is he or she somebody you can sit down and talk to? Because if there's someone you can talk to, then you might be able to arrive at that answer. Do you have personal one-to-one sessions with your boss? Review meetings. I mean, most bosses should have review meetings with their staff. If they're not doing that, then it's very hard for the boss or the staff to understand where there is a problem. So are you having review meetings? Do you have an HR department? Can somebody intervene on your behalf? So look at all these things, and then once you have looked at them, you might be able to arrive at a better way of dealing with this situation. Okay?
All right. I hope that
and then somebody also asked about a gentleman asked a question. I can't remember what the question was again.
That's the one I'm reading now.
Sorry?
Somebody said, what is the major source of stress in human life? Do stress occur in kids? So a lot of people are asking,
the major source of stress in human life.
Do children have stress? That's what they're asking. Major source of stress, and do children have stress?
Okay. So if I hear you correctly, let me repeat what I think you said. Somebody asked, what's the major cause of stress in human life?
Yes.
Okay. Now, like I went through earlier, some of the major causes of stresses with people, it could be home related. It could be your marriage causing stress. It could be your work causing stress. It could be financial. It could be health. It could be children. The major causes of stress are varied in different people. It is how you deal with it that is important. So how you deal with a major stress is you look at the situation, see if there's anything you can do to mitigate the situation. Is there any way of talking to the person who is causing the stress? If it is financial, is there any way you can do something else to bring in an income? If it is medical related, is there any medical care you can access that can help with the problem? So there are varied things that can cause extreme stress in people, but you need to be mindful of how you are dealing with these issues. If it is stresses, what I will say, for any stress that you're going through, have somebody you can talk to. Have someone you can talk to. So it could be a good friend, it could be a family member, it could be a psychologist. Please don't keep it to yourself. You cannot deal with stresses by yourself. Talk to somebody, okay? Like I said, you can phone somebody, you can phone a counselor, psychologist. You can talk to somebody, set up a Zoom meeting. You can even contact EDC if you're not sure on what to do again, you know. So, and then you must love yourself. So look after yourself. Make sure you're eating well. Make sure you're getting enough sleep. So sleep at least 7-8 hours a day. Okay? Make sure you keep, if the stress is ongoing, keep a diary. Even if it is in your phone, keep a diary of what is happening around you. Keep a diary of who is annoying you so that you can review and see how you can deal with it better. If you're somebody also who gets stressed a lot, avoid caffeine. Caffeine makes people, it adds to the stress that you feel. So avoid alcohol, avoid stress. Alcohol is a temporary reliever of stress, but the long-term effects are even worse. So avoid drinking coffee. Avoid, because coffee will make you nervous and make your stress worse. Avoid using drugs and make sure that you rest well. If you're in an office, please take time out. Take your lunch breaks if you can. Sometimes I know it's hard, especially if you're working in the banking industry, to take time out. But even if you have to go to the toilet for 10, 15 minutes and just sit down, just take time away from what is going on and nurture and nourish your brain, because you can only look after yourself as much as possible. But like I said, if all else fails, you must seek help for yourself. Okay? What was the other question?
Is that,
if I can hear you.
Okay, another question is that, do kids have stress? So we'll look at it that adults, most times we talk about adults. So some people are asking also that, do stress occur in kids?
Can you say that again?
Do stress occur in kids?
Oh, in kids?
Yes.
In children?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. And I think I did go through that. Stress does occur in children. If you see children behaving in ways that they don't normally behave, you need to find out what is going on. Don't leave them or beat them. Take them, talk to them, find out what it is that is the problem. The way children show stresses is by throwing tantrums. So sometimes a child might start crying for no reason. They might not want to go to school again. They might not want to talk to somebody that is causing distress in them. They might, they will just start acting out in ways that you don't understand. You know, having major tantrums, throwing themselves on the ground, hiding, you know, crying all the time, you know, not wanting to go to school, not wanting to go out, not failing in their subjects. They're not doing well. Maybe a child that used to do well, you notice they're not doing well. And like I said, sometimes a child has other issues like dyslexia. Like I said, you know, sometimes a child is reading and not seeing what they're reading. You know, you need to find out what is going on with the child. Talk to the child. Find a moment to call them and talk to them. This is why a lot of schools have counselors who come in and talk to the children to find out what is going on with them. Because a child that was behaving one way and then is now behaving another way, that is cause for concern. And that is a red flag. So please, if you have kids that are not behaving the way they used to behave, or they are throwing tantrums, please call them and talk to them. But let them know that they are safe with you. Don't call them and you're angry with them or you're threatening them. Call them and sit them down and say, I've noticed that this is how you've been behaving. Is anybody bothering you? Is anything causing the stress? If the child is comfortable with you, they will tell you what it is. If you notice the child is saying nothing, 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 just probe further. It could be that there's something, and maybe they've been threatened not to tell you. So please, as parents, just be sensitive to your children. That they are safe with you. Don't call them and you're answering.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you.
I hope I've answered that question.
I hope, because we had a lot of people asking
really
around around that area.
Okay, let me see if I can see the chat, because I can see a lot of chats going on there. Okay. Okay, I think when I logged out and in, I lost a lot of the chats that were there.
Yes, so, I guess so. So I'm reading out the chats to you, the questions, so you can answer. Okay.
Then I think somebody asked a question about
so some people are asking about mental health.
Mental health.
Yes. So what are your suggestions on how to have easy access to professionals in the mental health?
How to have access to
professionals in the mental health space.
Okay, how to have access to professional services. Okay, how you can have access to professional services is you can contact, there are hospitals that have professional services within the hospitals. Of course, you can go online. There is a lot online, but be careful what you search for online, because there might be people who are not professionals who say they're professionals. You can, if you're linked to EDC, I'm sure has a list of professionals they can refer in your direction. My details will be posted after this session as well. So if you need to contact me by phone or email or Zoom, the details will be there. There are people out there that you can contact. A lot of people go to church counselors. A church counselor is good to talk to as well. But if you feel that you're not getting any better, or it's deeper than what a church counselor can do, then you need to seek professional help.
So another question here is, someone said the cousin tried committing suicide, but
I can't hear you.
Okay, I think this from your end, because a lot of people are saying that they can hear, but maybe you can increase the volume of your. You can try increasing the volume on your sets. So a lot of people said, someone said that the cousin tried attempting suicide last year, but it was unsuccessful. So
okay, someone called Edoho Monday, okay, has just posted something. Is that what you?
So okay, that's not what I'm reading.
Edoho Monday said, in adults, the major stress is linked to financial stress. And as you rightly mentioned, what measures can be taken to mitigate against financial stress? Okay. Was that what you were saying?
No.
No. Okay. Okay. Because I can see his question, can you post the question? Because I can actually see the post, but I'm not hearing you. So I will answer my Monday while maybe you post this, and I'll answer your own afterwards. So Monday, what you can do to mitigate financial stresses is you need to assess how you can improve on your finances. You need to sit down, make a list of things that you can do to improve your finances. Can you get a part-time job? Can you get another job altogether? You know, can you do something online? Look at what your strengths are. Look at what your passion is. I mean, there are people who are doctors, who are bakers, some of the best bakers, you know. So it's finding out what your passion is and what you can do extra to boost your financial income, you know. So sit down with a pen and paper after this session. Just sit down with a pen and paper. Write down things you like doing, things you have a passion for, and see if there's any way you can start something small with to boost your financial income. If you can leave the job and find another job, then do it. But there are so many things out there one can do to boost their financial income. Don't worry unduly. Yes, it is worrying, but worrying is not going to solve the problem. So make sure you try and take practical measures to deal with it instead of worrying too much. Okay? Okay, somebody else has just posted something. Let me see. Okay. Okay, someone said I should use an earpiece.
So currently I'm sending you the questions on your private chat. Maybe you can check so you can answer the questions from your private chat. Since you can't hear me, if you have an earpiece, you can. So I guess that will work. So we can answer some questions and wrap it up for the day.
Boma, should I just answer the next question? Because you said something just now, but I didn't hear what you said.
I said, I'm sending the questions to you directly.
Okay.
So you can read them up and answer.
Okay then. Okay. Let me start after Monday's own then. Okay, the financial stress. I hope I was able to at least help you a bit Monday. Okay. Then there's Dorothy Akpan. When you feel very disconnected to your partner, and it almost feels like you don't love them anymore, but you don't see yourself leaving the relationship, and it almost feels like stress all the time, what advice can be given in such situations? Okay, Dorothy, thank you for your question. What I will say to you is that this happens in a lot of marriages. At certain points in marriages, people do feel disconnected from one another. What you can do is start to take practical steps to help yourself. Find out, you see, one of the things one must look at is the reason they got married in the first place. What was the reason you got married? Was it for financial reasons? Was it because you loved the person? Was it because you felt time was going? What was it? Were you pregnant? You know, you have to look at all these things because in a marriage involves not only love, it involves communication, it involves tolerance, it involves so many other things. You will go through periods when you feel disconnected from your partner. Is your partner somebody you can talk to? If your partner is somebody you can talk to, you should call your partner and present them with how you're feeling. If they dismiss it, then you know that that is a problem. If they listen to you, then that is a plus, because with that listening to you, that means you have something to build on. If they don't listen to you, is there somebody they can listen to? A brother, your best man, a friend, somebody you can tell them that the person needs to talk to them, or can even present it in a very sensitive way. So you need to look at all these measures first before you decide to take any other step. I would say that feeling disconnected from your partner is it could be caused, did you just have a baby? Because there is something called postnatal depression. When you have a baby, sometimes the hormones in your body they're all over the place. You don't feel yourself. You don't feel attractive. You don't feel like you even want anybody to touch you. But this is something, again, people need to be aware of. So if you're feeling disconnected because of any of these things, Dorothy, then try and seek some help. Can your partner follow you for counseling, whether it's church with a counselor? If not, if your partner is not somebody who even listens to you, then you need to find, I don't know, talk to your mother, talk to your father, talk to an auntie who can maybe intervene in this, But you have to try all measures to ensure that things are dealt with. I mean, I will not advocate staying if it's violent. If there's violence involved, I cannot sit here and say you must accept the violence, But what I will say is that if there are people around you can help, seek their advice. And if you can't seek their advice, then maybe you need to just consider how healthy your relationship is. Okay. I hope I've been able to address it a bit. If there's anything deeper within which you have said, because what I am going on is your general question. If there's anything deeper causing this dissatisfaction, maybe you want to send a message to me, okay? Because sometimes when people present questions, they present it in a very general manner, but sometimes there are much deeper issues that are causing the problems. Okay, thank you. So Boma sent a question. I have a question. I have a cousin who early last year took some chemicals with the intention of killing himself. But as God will have it, she got revived. But since then, she does feel weak with chest pains sometimes and pain in her feet. What's the advice? My advice is to seek medical intervention. The chemical could have caused some damage in her body. So the doctor needs to do a blood test and other tests to find out what the problem is. At the same time, if the doctor has ruled out any medical problems, she needs to see a psychologist because, as I mentioned earlier, at the root cause of a lot of pain in the body is stress or mental health issues. So all the pain in her feet and pain in her chest that she's feeling, it could be because of what is going on in her mind. Maybe she is depressed. Maybe something is bothering her that she's not dealing with, So let her first of all see a doctor. Let him rule out any medical causes. And then as a supportive relative, please consult a psychologist if all is ruled out medically. Okay, in a situation of mental stress, what are the vital steps to take to manage the situation, considering the load of jobs to attend to? I will say again that if your stress is job related, you need to reassess how beneficial that job is to you. Sometimes people sit in jobs because it is familiar to them. They're afraid of taking that next step to maybe look for another job or to do something on their own. But sit down with a pen and paper. Honestly, keeping a journal is very important. Write down what it is you want to do, what it is you can do, and give yourself timelines. I want to do this before March. I am going to do this before next Christmas. You need to give yourself, break what you want to do for yourself into little chunks. When I say little chunks, break it down into manageable sizes. So don't overwhelm yourself with things. So you can say, okay, by the end of February, I want to do this. By the end of March, I want to do this. But look at your job again. Is it beneficial to you? Are you happy? Or can you do something else? And when I say, can you do something else? Everybody can do something else. It is taking that step forward. Don't hold yourself back. Don't feel as if you don't have the confidence to do it. You have the confidence. So go ahead and do it and see what it is. Like I said, if it's a job that you like, then you stay in it, but reassess how you're working within it, and if it is helping you. So I hope I've addressed that. Then another one, please, does sex help to de-stress? Please, does sex help to de-stress? Yes, sex does help to de-stress because when I say it helps to de-stress, of course, if it is with somebody that you respect, somebody that you like, somebody that you trust. Random sex does not help to de-stress at all. It might relieve you temporarily, but it doesn't help you to de-stress over the long period. It's best when you are intimate with somebody that you feel comfortable with, so it's and it's if it's a husband and wife situation, then I think that also it will help rather than a random sexual encounter. In random sex, all it does is temporarily relieves you. That is all. But the mental stress is still going to be there. It will relieve you physically, but the mental stress will be there. So the root cause of your stresses will need to be dealt with first. Okay. Then in adults, the major stress is linked to, okay, I've dealt with that. Okay. In a situation of mental stress, yes, what are the vital steps to take to manage the situation? Contributing, okay, I've addressed that. Okay. How do I cope with distance of workplace from home without changing the children's school? How do I cope with the distance of workplace from home without changing the children's school? This question is, unless it's causing you stress, this is a practical answer question, because all I can see here is you don't want to change the children's school, but you want to, the distance to your workplace is stressing you, okay? So what I will say is that if you don't want to change the children's school, then you need to change your workplace. And are you able to change your workplace? Because from your question, one thing you've said is without changing the children's school. So there are two things you can change: workplace and home. Can you move nearer the children's school? Can you get a job closer to the children's school? Because I'm unable to provide you with an answer without you taking practical steps to help yourself in this matter. So you may need to look at your workplace, closing earlier, getting into work at a certain time. Can you talk to your boss to find out if you can work around the children's school times? Get somebody to help you out at home. Without the support, it will be impossible for you to manage what you've asked me. So I think maybe you need to look at maybe changing your workplace, getting somewhere closer to the school, or getting help at home to help you. if you can't change your work times. Okay, so I think I've dealt with, is there any other question here?
I think we've taken a lot of questions. We've actually taken a lot. I think.
Sorry, Boma, hold on. Sorry, what did you say?
We've covered a lot of questions. So, Rachel, you said I should kindly go through yours. What is your question? Can you drop? Let's take, that's the last question we're taking for the day so that we can end the session. What is your question? Rachel, please, can you please drop your question so we can take it as the last questions as we leave, as we're rounding up the session?
Can you write that in the chat? Okay, kindly go through mine. Okay, Deborah. Okay. Sorry, Deborah. When I went out of the session, I lost all the previous chats. So please, if I haven't addressed anything in this current one, please, can you send it again? Okay. Accessing mental health care in Nigeria can often be a challenge due to the referral process required, like specialists like psychologists or psychiatrists, which are limited in number, which can lead to significant waiting time. What are your suggestions on how to have an easy access to professional mental health, though it is more of sharing my experience? Okay, Deborah, what I will say is that there are so many services online. You know, if you go online and type in mental health or psychologist or psychiatrist, you can find a number of people who provide such services. The only thing is knowing if they're genuine or knowing if they're good. You can go to hospitals. Hospitals usually have referral people they can refer people to, because hospitals are aware that a lot of people who come in with symptoms, physical symptoms, are actually having mental health issues, but they're just feeling it as physical symptoms. So they do have people they can refer people to. Like I said, the difference between a psychologist and a psychiatrist is is quite a lot. So if it is something you've mentioned that, though it is more of sharing your experience. So if that is the case, then maybe a psychologist would be a better person for you to see. EDC has a list. I am available if you want to. Like I said, my details will be provided afterwards. So you need to decide what it is that you want to deal with, and if you want to call me confidentially, I can point you in the right direction. So you don't have to worry about where you can find these professionals. So Deborah Oluwafemi Olulade, thank you for your question. Let me see, is there anybody's question I haven't answered? Please, please, please. I am sorry, but a lot of questions dropped off when I went out of the session. I'm going through now, and let me see. Okay. Boma, is there anybody I've left out? Is there anybody that wants to clarify anything?
Can you hear me very well?
I can still hear you very faintly.
I think it's coming from your end.
Really?
Yes.
I wonder why. Because my speakers and everything is on. Hold on, I'm coming.
So thank you, everybody. So we are trying to wrap up. As you wrap up, so Mrs. Caroline, please, I want to give them a last word while we wrap up this session. Can you hear me?
I can hear you faintly, Boma.
So what's your last word or advice to those that are going through stress? Or those
Okay, my last advice to those going through stress.
Yes.
Okay, my last advice to anybody suffering from stress-related problems is try and seek counseling as early as possible, because stress-related problems, if you leave it for long, it can develop into mental health issues, further, mental health issues. So if you're feeling overwhelmed with what is going on around you, try and take practical steps to deal with it. Talk to somebody about it, or seek the advice of a counselor. Seeing a counselor, psychologist, sometimes just requires a few sessions to get to the root cause of what is going on and deal with it. Okay. So what you can do is make sure that you're sleeping well, make sure you're eating well, make sure you're taking practical steps to deal with whatever it is. If it is workplace, what is there you can do in that workplace to make sure that this stress doesn't continue? Everybody goes through stress. Like I said earlier, it is how you deal with it that is important, and how long you leave it to continue that is also important. So make sure that you know that some stress is normal. It's normal. It's normal to feel anxious about a report you're writing. It's normal to feel anxious if your child is sick. It's normal to feel anxious if you and your husband quarrel. It's normal. It's normal. But if it now stretches too long, it stretches more than 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, then you need to seek intervention. You need to seek a counselor or a psychologist to talk to. And like I said, if the counselor or psychologist finds out there are deeper causes or deeper root causes for your stress, then they will prescribe medication for you. But some of these stress-related illnesses can be solved without medication.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for this session. I'm sure that we've learned a lot, and we've learned how we can be able to manage stress that we face daily in our lives, and also the solutions to it, on the measure we can take to be able to take care of this. So thank you very much, Ms. Kalon, for having you. We can't thank you enough for this session. So for those that have questions, if you have more questions, I'm dropping the email address. You can send us, if you check the chat box, you can see the email address. You can send more questions and I will send it to her. So we'll get a response and we'll send back to you. If you have more questions, or you are looking for someone that you can talk to, or a mental health specialist, a psychiatrist, you want a recommendation, you can send us an email and we'll respond back to you. I hope we gained a lot from this session. Okay, they're asking for your contacts too.
Okay, they're asking for my contact. Okay, what I will do, let me post it. I'll send it to your email, to your WhatsApp now, and then maybe you can just post it.
I have your email address here. I can drop it for them.
Yeah, you can even drop it here now before we end the session. So I've sent it to you by WhatsApp. Have you received it?
Okay, all right. So that's your email address that I just dropped the email address now. So that's her email address for those that want to reach her directly. That's her email address. So this session is also on YouTube for those that couldn't complete it, or you have your peers that they are busy at work, they couldn't log in. So you can follow us on our social media, YouTube page, Enterprise Development Center. So you can be able to access this session and listen again and send to your colleagues, your friends, your family members, or those that are going through the same thing, for them to listen and get.
Have you seen it now?
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Have you seen it now?
Yes, I've seen it. I've sent it out.
Yes. Okay, so you can just post it for them.
Yes, I've done that. So yeah. Thank you very much, Ms. Caroline. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining in.
And thank you, everybody.
We'll see you again in our next session. Please follow our social media handle, Instagram and YouTube, Enterprise Development Center. We have sessions like this that are coming up this week that will benefit you also. Thank you and see you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Have a nice day. Thank you, Boma.